What's going on, everybody? So I thought I'd just hop on and just do a really quick rant on R. Kelly's upcoming bail hearing. Everyone knows that's around the corner. I believe September 9th it is. I think that's what it is. Um, Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Questions and comments below. But I believe his bail hearing is on September 9th. Now, with that coming up, everyone knows that, there's been three recent arrests, and everyone knows that they're going to try to use those arrests to derail his bail hearing, right? So they're going to use those arrests to say, see, this is why R. Kelly needs to stay locked up, because he's trying to bribe the witness. They're going to allege that he's trying to intimidate the witness by burning up Azriel's car, and so on and so forth. So I mean, R. Kelly basically needs to have a plan at this point, right? This is pretty much an ambush, and one of the alleged acts happened like way back in 2019, I believe, probably 2018. The incident with Don Russell, so that they strategically held those allegations with the intention of releasing it at the perfect moment. So no doubt you got to give credit where credit is due. A masterful devilish move on their part. You got to acknowledge that they could have indicted Don Russell a long time ago, but they're choosing to wait up until now for this bail hearing to do it. Now, one of the things that comes to mind is, and I actually also made some videos discussing whether or not Don Russell will flip. That's not necessarily going to be an issue in the bail hearing, but it could be an issue moving down the line as he gets closer and closer to his trial date. If Don Russell flips, then that could be yet another thing for R. Kelly to have to worry about, and to figure out how he's going to counter somebody like that flipping. Like, I don't know the exact relationship between Don Russell and R. Kelly. What I believe the relationship is that I think that they were friends and they were business partners, or possibly Don Russell was an employee, but I can't confirm any of that. So if you know the relationship between Don Russell and R. Kelly, definitely let us know with the comment in the comment sections below. Let us know what's going on. I never really thought to look into what type of relationship Don has with R. Kelly, but I've always assumed that, number one, there was some type of bond or friendship there. And then number two, he's either a business partner or he's an employee, right? So definitely, with those two being the case, him being a friend and then him being either a business partner or an employee, that's going to have huge implications if he decides to flip. And I'm not saying that he will flip, but I mean, let's face it. I mean, he's going to be faced with, I believe, up to 5 years, 5 years jail time, right? And most people won't want to do 5 years when they can easily just roll over and give up information, right? So it's going to be critical. It's going to be critical. If he flips, I think it's going to create a huge problem for R. Kelly, right? And again, I'm not saying that he will. I'm just throwing it out there. But you know what? None of that is neither here nor there. I'm looking at the bail hearing that's coming up, and I'm trying to think of ways that R. Kelly can minimize the obvious attack that's going to be made in that bail hearing. They're obviously going to somehow try to use the latest three indictments to say, he is a danger to the witness. I don't think so. If I can remember correctly, the statute, and you guys can go back and look at some of my older videos about his bail, but the statute that's relating to his bail has two main conditions that the court should consider. One of the conditions is the possibility that he may harm someone else, and the second possibility is the possibility that he may intimidate the witness. Now, of course, we all know that the allegations against him is 100% nonsense, and there's no real possibility of him going out and getting another girlfriend so that that girlfriend can make an allegation, right? So I think you can easily separate R. Kelly's allegations up in two categories. The first category, which is pre 2008, and that category, he's pretty much already beat all of those charges, right? They're actually trying to bring those charges back up in the conspiracy to defraud the United States in Chicago, Illinois. But for the most part, though, that case has been done, double jeopardy applies. He's already beat that. And then there's the second category of allegations where you just have these grown women coming out trying to use the past allegations against R. Kelly and say, hey, look, I was abused. Hey, look, I was forced to have sex against my will. Hey, look, he made me eat, defecation or something like that. So there's really two sets of allegations, right? Or two categories. And when you look at the statute that governs the bail hearing, there is no chance for him to actually harm anyone once he gets out, right? Because he's actually, according to Steve Greenberg, he's basically just going to go back and live in Trump Towers with his girlfriend Jocelyn, right? So that's what's going to happen, and it's unlikely that he's going to reach out to anyone. He's not going to be rolling around in the streets trying to, pick up. Young ladies and anything like that. So he's basically going back to live in Trump Towers. So the first part of the statute is basically mute, right? The first part of the statute, basically, and I'll see if I can somehow put the statute. Well, actually, I'm not even going to do that because, like I said, I've made plenty of videos on the bail statute and what it takes for him to get out of bail. And like I said, the first criteria is the chances that the alleged uh, perpetrator will go out and do continuing harm to new victims, right? So this is the first criteria. We all know that's not going to happen. And then the second criteria is the possibility that he would intimidate the witness. Now, unfortunately, they're going to argue that, hey, he tried to bribe Azriel, right? Which we, after hearing some of the evidence, I don't think he actually tried to bribe her. Some of that evidence that I've seen was actually several videos. I actually seen a video where Dr. Rice was somehow involved, and Dr. Rice actually recorded the conversation, and you can obviously see that Azriel is trying to bait Dr. Rice into offering a bribe, right? But unfortunately, they're going to use that against R. Kelly in his bail hearing, so he has to deal with that. He has to, in my opinion, I don't know if he actually knows Dr. Rice. I don't know if he has any type of relationship with Dr. Rice. I think Dr. Rice is just like several other people who have just come out and just kind of like spoke out against unfair prosecution or persecution in the media. And I'm not sure what the relationship is there. I'm not going to speculate. But they would, in my opinion, in order for them to make the allegations of Dr. Rice bribery stick, and they want to claim that it's RICO, they would actually have to prove that there was some type of association between Dr. Rice and R. Kelly. And I don't know that that exists, right? And even if Dr. Rice is just some guy on the internet who just, got involved in all this. And like I said, I don't know what Dr. Rice's relationship is with R. Kelly. So if he is by chance just some guy on the internet who is a doctor in psychology or whatever he's a doctor in, and he basically just think this whole thing is unfair, and he just tried to kind of resolve it, put his 2 cents in and try to resolve it, that still has nothing to do with R. Kelly. Absolutely nothing to do with R. Kelly. So they're going to have to try to prove some type of association with Dr. Rice and R. Kelly if they're going to try to use that the allegations of bribery there, right? So, in my opinion, again, I guess I'm sounding like a broken record. Dr. Rice just seems like some guy on the internet who just thinks the allegations and the persecution in the media is unfair, and he's just trying to do his part to kind of help out. That doesn't make him an associate of R. Kelly. There's no Rico ties there. And I think even Dr. Rice said on the one video I saw, he basically said, I'm not handling anything for R. Kelly, right? So but nonetheless, it's still going to be a hurdle to get over in the bail hearing because they're just going to try to hit him with everything they have. So he has to downplay that incident with the alleged bribery, and not necessarily downplay it. He has to basically say, hey, I don't know this guy. I have nothing to do with this guy. And, we're not associated in any shape or form. So when it comes down to Don Russell is going to be a little tough because there is a history of, at least there's videos out there where Don Russell shows up when R. Kelly is getting out on bail. And there's a few videos of him and R. Kelly out there together. However, just because you're friends with somebody, it doesn't mean that your friend is a part of an enterprise, right? You can't take friendship and make it an enterprise. At least I don't believe you can, right? And one of the things that everybody should take note of is that Don Russell is not being charged with RICO. And my thinking on that is that if Don Russell was a part of the enterprise, if he was charged with RICO, then that would be a justification for saying that R. Kelly should be denied bail because Don Russell is a part of the enterprise. But again, he's not being charged with RICO. And because he's not being charged with RICO, I would assume or I would believe that the government doesn't see Don Russell as a part of the enterprise. So that's something I would try to, if I was in R. Kelly's shoes. I'm not in his shoes again, but if I was in his shoes, that's something that I would argue in the bail hearing. I would say, hey, look, Don Russell is my friend. We grew up together. And again, I don't know what the relationship is, but I'm just, ad-libbing this thing, right? I'm just kind of like, putting things in there that, may not necessarily be true, right? So I would just say, hey, look, me and Don grew up together. He's my friend. I've known him since grammar school. And when I got into this, little bind or in this little pickle with Faith Rogers, we both knew it was bogus. I asked Don to take care of it for me. However, I didn't expect Don to, and actually, I think those are two separate accusations. The there was one instance of Don Russell taking care of the lawsuit with Faith Rogers, and then there was another separate incident with Don Russell handling the the taping of the Surviving R. Kelly series, right? So I would say, look, I did ask Don to help me out with the Faith Rogers issue because I was just really busy with all this other stuff, and I really didn't have time to deal with Faith Rogers' lawsuit. I knew it was bogus. Everybody knew the lawsuit was bogus, and I just asked Don Russell to take care of it for me. But when it comes down to the bomb threats and things of that nature, I didn't ask Don Russell to get involved with the taping of that show. I didn't ask Don Russell to call in that bomb threat. I didn't even know about the bomb threat. I didn't even know about the shooting allegations. I didn't know I didn't know about that stuff, right? So yeah, he's my friend, but the government themselves doesn't think he and I constitute a enterprise because if they did, they would have charged him with the RICO statute, right? So that's probably where I would go with Don Russell. And again, you're hoping that Don Russell doesn't flip because if he does, it could be potentially, it could just be a total chaos, at that point. And then with the part with the car. I don't know much about that, but I'm told that R. Kelly didn't give instructions to anybody to burn a car. So, that's pretty much the gist of it. He has to find some way to play down these indictments because for sure when they go to the bail hearing, they're basically going to try to use this as evidence to try to stop him from getting bail. Now, now that I know how they work, right? And now that everybody can see how they work, right? They're doing this stuff at the very last minute. Uh, Now that everybody sees how they operate, their modus operandi, I would also expect for them to come out of the pocket, come out of the trick bag with some additional allegations or some additional um, attempts to try to get him denied bail, right? We don't know what those are. The only thing we know about right now are the three indictments. It's obvious that that is going to be used, but there could be more things that are going to be used in that bail hearing. And, R. Kelly's defense team has to try to guess at what those could be and be prepared for those, right? So let's see what happens. Let's pray he gets out on bail. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, and I'm just going to be honest. I'm just going to be, painfully honest here. I think it's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough for him to get out on bail now. Initially, I thought for sure he would get out on bail because they didn't have anything. But now they've kind of fabricated some of the stuff. And I say fabrication in the sense that, again, Don Russell could have been indicted a long time ago, and they've waited for the perfect time to bring the indictment forth. And the bribery thing, to me, it just seems like a weak indictment. And the car burning, I'm not so sure about it, right? So it just seems like, so maybe fabrication isn't the right word to use, but what I'm trying to say is that they've waited all this time to bring these allegations with the intent to use them at the best possible time, and that just so happens to be his upcoming bail hearing. So because of that, um, it's not going to look good. It is really not going to look good. But let's see what the appeals court says. I'm praying for the man. I hope he gets out. It's going to be tough. Leave your questions and comments below. Let me know what you think. Do you think he'll get out on bail? Do you think that these allegations that they've brought up is going to be enough to basically keep him from getting bail? Do you think there's other possible allegations that could be used that we're not paying attention to, right? That's the other thing. There's other things, other evidence that could be used to basically keep him from getting bail. And maybe all of these recent indictments, these recent indictments could be a red herring, something to basically distract us from their from another plan that the prosecutors have, right? So let me know what you think. Do you think that the three indictments is simply a red herring, and then they maybe have maybe something stronger to basically keep him from getting out on bail? Or do you think the three indictments is enough to keep R. Kelly to from getting out on bail? So questions, comments below. Let me know what you think. And as always, please like, share, and subscribe.